right now on Full Custom Garage. Master metalman Ian Roussel brings his wild vision to the world of Volkswagen bugs.
I built a couple radical bugs, and looking around, I'm seeing stock ones, nothing crazy. It makes me want to chop one up and build something really wild.
With his hands on a stock bug and a head full of ideas, it's on.
I have a couple ideas I'm not 100% sure of. It's kind of uncharted territory. I'm just going for it. I'm going to cut the whole car into pieces. You got to be a little reckless if you want to get the best stuff.
And later, when Ian shifts gears into a different project, the pressure's on.
These clients are buying the car sight unseen. I know that I've done my best work. I can only hope that they appreciate it. I really like Volkswagens. It was one of those things growing up in New York, you just didn't see them. So for me, they became a very special car. They had total character, especially Baja bugs or custom VWs. You just never saw them on the East Coast. So really, that's what became so appealing. They were rare. I've been working on this bug for about 18 months. It all started with this little toy somebody gave me. I've always been into VWs, so I saw this thing and I'm like, hey, I could build this. I could make a full-size one. I was really just kind of showing off in building this whole thing. This was just like an experiment. It's got custom everything. The chassis got a lot of tubular structure in it. It's chopped radically. It's really changed around from a stock car. I wasn't really pushing on finishing this car. I'm always working on a lot of projects, so this car is sitting in the side of the shop most of the time. The front suspension just needs to be finished, and it's a runner. And I'm really just kind of lagging. I'm looking for some inspiration to get it done. I haven't been involved in the VW world. I haven't even been to a car show or read magazines in forever. So I think I want to go out and just kind of see what's happening in the scene. We're at the VW Classic in Irvine, California, one of the largest VW shows in the world. Just looking to see what's new and hot. I haven't been to many Volkswagen shows in the past few years. You know, VW Bug is my first car. It's what I drove all through high school. Having not been to a show in a number of years, it's good to see the scene is still happening. I'm here looking at the swap meet for some parts for the build and definitely for some inspiration. This is an all VW show, so there's only VW parts at the swap meet. I specifically was looking for some cool rims, maybe some wheel adapters, and some headlights. Well, the most important thing in any swap meet is the footwork. Because nobody's advertising what they have, so you just gotta search it out. Things I'm looking for are typically in cardboard boxes or milk crates. They're not very showy, but you gotta find it. For me, this is shopping. I like stuff in cardboard boxes. I'm looking for shapes. Anything that's cool, you know, I have a mental registry and I'm flipping through it. If I see anything that looks like it'll fit, it's coming home. It's almost what we need. I was surprised how conservative the scene seems to have gotten. There was a lot of resto customs, basically like a restored car that's modified. And I guess that really just shows that these cars are becoming increasingly valuable. People aren't hacking them up the way I had seen in the 80s and early 90s. Every car that I'm building is kind of an artistic statement, and what I'm seeing here is really a big nod of respect to the factory engineers. Nobody's cutting these things up as crazy as I have been accustomed to seeing. Everybody agrees, most times it's the rim and tire combination that can make the car. The white and blue, it totally works. The body on this car is pretty stock, but obviously they went to town on the suspension. Looks like it's got a narrowed front beam, and I kind of like how it's all cambered out in the back end. It just looks like somebody squished it. This is a typical thing you see with VWs with a swing axle. When you lower them, the tires literally swing around the center arc, so you know that this is pretty much a stock floor pan. That's why the rear tires are so bent out of shape, but it looks cool. It's not good for the tire wear, but I kind of like it. It's good to see a number of different year cars that were chopped. You could see the challenges that you face when you cut the roof on a car. So when you chop the top, this panel changes, and you can see the shape of the rear window changes pretty drastically. It kind of has to do with the B-pillar too. So it's just one of the things you got to think about when you're making the cuts. Even though VWs are getting harder and harder to find for restoration or a custom, by looking at today's attendance, you know the scene is happening. Seeing all these cars like this, you really get a sense of the cookie cutter catalog cars. Everything's identifiable. That makes me want to make something even crazier. Because what stands out? The one you can't figure out, right? That's where I come in. It's kind of funny. I went to this VW show to get inspiration to finish up the car I'm working on, but it got me charged up to go in a whole new direction. I really think I can pull off a really awesome chop top. I know Bill's got a car, so here we go, another project. Bill's a client of mine. We've worked together on a bunch of projects. He's got more stuff than I can ever imagine. I put labor into his projects for his treasures, so we do a lot of horse trading. Bill and I were talking about this VW Bug project I had. He mentions, coincidentally, he's got one laying back here. Somebody changed the doors for some reason. It's pretty solid too, look at the rocker panels. Southwest car. There's no floor pan, no kind of VIN tag of any type, so I really don't know what year this is. He said he thought it was a 64 or 65. It's in really good shape. This is a perfect start. Somebody stripped everything out of it. I don't have any carpet to remove. It's off of its floor pan. I have another floor pan at the shop I can put this on just to make sure everything is square. All the door gaps look good. I don't think the car was crashed. It's never been rolled over. He said it was a Baja bug, so I don't think it was jumped too hard or really freaked out on. This is freaking perfect. There's no preparation. I thought, usually you get a car, you gotta pull all the dead rats and bubblegum wrappers out of it. This thing is just clean metal. It's ready to go. I don't know how heavy these things are. Whoa. She is. Hi-ya. Get this thing harnessed up, get her back to the shop. All right, let's get the heck out of here. I have a couple ideas I'm not 100% sure of. It's kind of uncharted territory. I'm just going for it. I'm gonna cut the whole car into pieces. It really helps me out to see a car on a chassis with rolling gear. That's the whole reason I pulled this stock VW pan in, just to get a look, a starting point. I think this is how they did it in the factory. Back in Germany, I think this is how they assembled them. My whole thing is I'm working with existing parts, so I need all the stuff that fit around the body to make it convincing. I don't want to sketch it, I want a three-dimensional view of it. Perfect fit. Hard part about building this way is you're just stacking a lot of parts. I'm moving car bodies, tires, frames, it's a lot of work. Putting it on the floor pan, you see it. It looks like a typical bug. Everybody's got one. It makes me want to cut it up, change it around. This is a good reference to see there's no weight in the car. The VW is a great off-road vehicle, so you can see that this, as a Baja bug, it had tons of ground clearance, plenty of headroom, big windows, you could see all the obstacles you're approaching. That's not what I want. It's a pretty tall car. I want it about that high. This new bug, I'm really just trying to one-up a couple things in the chop I just did. Namely the windshield height and just the general appearance of it. There's a couple subtle changes, but I know I can move through this thing fast, and that's the whole plan. Just if I can reproduce this, maybe people will buy them. Maybe I can get better and better at it and sell them. I'm making this bug different than the blue one for a reason. When you look at that car, it's really wedged down in the front. That's what I was going for. This one's gonna have a mellower, straight down look. I want this car to be really fast. I want it to be just wild, just totally custom, my own build. This car will look like a Volkswagen that's been modified, but underneath the outer skin, it'll be completely my own work. My plan for this is to cut it apart, piece it back together on the floor, and see how it looks. I took off the doors just to lighten the whole thing up. I'm cutting the roof off. The C-pillar is a pretty big deal, so I just want to get everything out of the way. Once I got the doors off, I had to figure out how I was going to go about cutting the rear of the C-pillars out. There's a million ways to cut a car. The VW in the rear in the C-pillar is kind of a unique shape, so I'm choosing to just delete it. It's going to be easier to build it back than to try to modify it. I needed to cut out the whole rear package tray. The reason is the body's narrower, so it's just fast for me to get it out of the way and build a new one. The whole trick with this is I'm leading the whole chop off of the A-pillars. Everything else is built to fit. So as long as the body's square and the A-pillars fit, carry on. It appeared I didn't mark this side of the car before I cut it, because I didn't. I'm that good. I know these cars. I just freaking go. That's why it's so quick. There's two ways to chop a top. You can either widen the roof to fit the body, or you can narrow the body to fit the roof. And I found that narrowing the body is a lot easier. You gotta be a little reckless if you want to get the best stuff. By cutting a car up and piecing and placing stuff, by mocking up pieces instead of like having a set definition of where you're going, it allows room for that little nuance, that thing that could potentially take it over the edge. And I just love the feeling of being a little reckless. I'm confident enough to be able to pull it off. Now that I got the roof off, I'm just gonna get this chassis out of here. I wanna lay it out on the floor so I can really see how it looks. What I'm doing here is just mocking up the pieces of the body. The reason I cut this car right in half was because as the top comes down, this is a triangle, so it's gonna fall through these upright posts. What I'm gonna do is cut right through the center of the body. Well, you know what? I'm gonna cut 4 inches out of the windshield right now, and then we'll stick it on there and see. Chopping a top takes a lot of measuring, and I just try to make it easy as possible. 3M gave us a whole bunch of tape, so I just used a 3/4 inch tape, marked it out, and cut it straight ahead. It's just easier for me to lay out tape. A lot of people do that. So you got 3/4 times 3, that's 2 1/4 inch. My aim here is to minimize the amount of finish work. I'm only chopping through the pillars so that there's less body work and finish time. If I was to cut the whole roof skin, it's a ton of hammer welding, Bondo, sanding, etc. By keeping these areas that I'm cutting pretty small, it's going to be a lot easier to finish up. So what I've been describing is as the roof comes down in height, these dimensions between the window openings get further and further from where they were. You can see on the inside here is 39 3/4. But now, where they come together, this inside is 41. So The lower the roof gets, the more mismatched they are. Most people will split the roof and make it wider to take care of that, but I like the idea of making the car smaller. Narrowing the body is really fast because you don't have to cut through that big dome in the roof. That's a huge welding procedure. Narrowing the body makes it fast. That's bottom line. My plan for this car right now is to have a front engine, so eventually all of this, or the majority of it, will be gone. But just so I can get a good look, I'm gonna trim it nice, put it together, and chop the hell out of it later. Ultimately, I will measure out and line all this up, but right now I'm just tacking it. These proportions might change. Those cuts are pretty darn close to almost like a professional did it. I'm gonna tack this up pretty strong because these are gonna be the lead off on the rest of the chop. It's a 4-inch chop in the windshield pillars. Yeah, I think that's perfect. This rear window is obviously way too low. Something I was really stuck on was how this rear window was gonna fit. When I chopped it, it was too low, it was too big, it was all wrong in the back. I'm gonna cut out this window frame completely. I'm gonna move the top up 5 or 6 inches, and then I'm gonna bring the bottom up. So I'll chop the rear window, whatever looks right also. My opinion is the smaller the glass, the better. What that does is gives you more paint area. It looks like a larger sheet metal shape. And that's trick. See, it just brought the whole window frame up. And now if you look around the car, the windows are all at pretty much the same height. And in the end, I'm gonna figure out how much smaller the back window gets. Trucking along on this body, got a lot of bracing and stuff. The plan for me right now is to weld in the top of the window. I definitely like the line. If you look here, how this line comes through, visually, that flows around pretty cool. I like that. Taking a lot of time just to step back and look at it. It's all about the visual impact that it has. The window openings are very important to me. I think I'm just gonna cut these 2 little tail pieces off and stick a tire under there and look at it. I have a lot of experience with moving Volkswagen bodies. So this is pretty much how I build everything. You know, you can draw stuff, but I really find it easier to just stack parts. That looks freaking bitchin'. Now that I got the body together, I want to put the doors on and fit out the window surrounds. I'm really stoked to see this thing mocked up. Put some doors on, see if that doesn't change the look. Okay, looks great. Now that I got the doors on, it's time to just fit out the rest of the sheet metal. It's all about detail. I'm gonna spot this in right now. just trimmed off 4 inches from this upright to match the roof, and it's pretty close. All right, that's tacked temporarily. You can see how much work's gonna have to go into that later, but hey, looks good from this side. I'll weld all around the seams, then there'll be 2 little spot welds that hold the old sheet metal. I'll dent it in a little bit, slick it with Bondini, call her done. This is what makes the chop. It seems like a little detail, but the fit and finish is what really makes it count. Got the door top on, it's a ton of time, it's very close. All the outside is done. It looks great. I'm very happy with it. The whole deal with making this chop a little bit better than the other ones is making the windshield smaller. The early Beetles had a really cool front shape on the roof, and as the years progressed, the windshield got bigger and bigger. So me making a small windshield just makes it look older, which I consider cooler. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lap that right on the inside of that. Call her good. That's the plan, man. The reason I'm able to pull off these projects to completion is because I got my act together. Even though I wing it with these projects, it's not like I'm freaking loose, 3 sheets to the wind, you know, just flying through it. This is all a disciplinary thing. You know, just because I act like I'm going into this all fun and frolic, it's all because I'm comfortable with it. So I'm just gonna sheet this really easy. I'll do a couple pie cuts here to bring that in, but that's later. Today's mission is just get that back window to this point. The whole thing about a chop, for me, is getting the proportions right. So I knew what I wanted in the windshield, but coming around the back, it's just fit it up, figure it out. Every time I start a car, I'm just falling in love. I don't think about how much work it's gonna be. I know how much work it's gonna be, but I can't think about that. You just gotta go for it. That's 5 inches out of the rear winder. So the idea here is that this line is gonna roll right through. Nice. Come out under this. Now the car looks like a chop top. That is perfect. So I got this Baja Bug hood from my good friend Don. He's got tons of stuff laying around. He had this fiberglass hood. I decided to use this fiberglass hood because it's a little shorter. Looking at the Blue Bug, the hood is really close to the ground. The fiberglass hood that I'm using is quite a bit shorter. It's from a Baja Bug, and I think it's just gonna look cool. The car's 2 inches narrower than it was, so the fiberglass hood's gonna have to get narrowed too. I'm just gonna cut a big V groove out of it and piece it back together. The pie cut, close her up, give her a clamp. All you fiberglass savvy guys, you can sit back, enjoy a cold beverage, and watch the clown go to work. While I was waiting for the fiberglass to dry, I just finished up the driver's side rear window and the B-pillar. The primary difference between the way I work and someone who thinks out the whole thing beforehand is that I leave an opening for that nuance, you know? That's the great artist. That's the thing that makes the difference, is the unexpected. And I leave a lot of room for the unexpected. I totally get that my approach to this is not the standard procedure, but I've made it my whole career to be creative, and that's really what this is about. I don't want to have a job. I don't want to conform. I want to be creative. That's what I'm doing. That looks pretty good. Still gonna get a bunch more Bondo, hammer, dolly work, etc. But this is the metal fab. This is all the grinding and welding for the chop. The only way to explain if a chop looks good or not is to just look at it. It's really an individual take on it, you know? It depends what you're trying to do with the statement of the car. So I guess the worst case scenario is the windows are ill-fitting. You know, the lines look kinked, they're not smooth, and that's really what I'm trying to work past, just make it look factory. What you're witnessing here is the transformation of a VW Beetle into an awesome freaking hot rod. Now that it's laid out on the floor, this car is bitchin'. I think it's a keeper. There's always so many projects going on. I got this bug that I'm currently chopping, and it turns out there's a buyer for the blue bug. It's pretty crazy. I found a buyer randomly through word of mouth. This couple up in Canada heard that I built this car, and they want to buy it sight unseen. That's cool, but there's a bunch of stuff I gotta button up. To get this car rolling, I just gotta do a couple things to the front suspension and some minor interior work. Just trim it out and this car's done. Blue Bug's been in storage for a while. I got it in another shop. I only got a couple days to make this happen, so I gotta get to it. Found this cool Ford axle. It must be a British Ford, I'm not sure. It's very narrow and super lightweight. I was thinking about how to improve it and kind of make it unique. Typically, the axle is a solid axle. These two centers are just joined. My idea with it was to split it, sort of like you see the later model Ford trucks, the independent I-beams. So I cut the axle in half. I took these bushings from leaf spring and just welded them in. So now the axle is sprung independently. Getting this front suspension dialed in isn't a lot of work, but it's technical. The handling of the car, the safety of the car depends on this front axle behaving correctly. All the proportions of the car are different. It's 2 inches narrower than it was. So I thought maybe this little axle would fit the narrower car, but even still, when I set it up in mock-up, it just looked like it needed to be wider. So I split it in half. I built this bracket. You can see it's about, I don't know, 8 inches wider than it used to be. And now it looks like it belongs that way. I'm gonna use air shocks on this car to suspend it. Being that it's such a lightweight vehicle, I can get away with it. Most of the times you'll see a leaf spring with this setup, but I think air shocks are gonna be fine. So the air shocks just bolt in like this, kind of at a diagonal angle. But I'm not gonna hook them up to test this out because it's just gonna restrict the movement. But you can see how they just fit in. It's pretty crazy that this axle bolts right to the VW wheels. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there knows what's up. I'll tell you, it works. I guess if you look at it from this angle, you can really see how drastically cambered the tire is. And that's not gonna work for me. If this thing should get loose, unweight, tires are gonna tuck under and the car's gonna flip over, guaranteed. Problem with an off-camber suspension is if the car unweights, the tire tucks under and the car flips over. VWs are notorious for this. I'm making it worse because the front is doing the same as the rear. Typically a VW Bug, if it flips over because of this situation, it's because of the swing axle rear end. This car has sort of a swing axle front end as well. So it's gotta be kept under control or this thing's gonna be loose. So this is the air shock that is basically limiting the up and down suspension travel right now. It's all on the shock. There's nothing else on the car to stop it from moving. The whole thing to make this suspension work is bump stops and limiting straps. That keeps the axle in position. What the off-road trucks do is they use a limiting strap. It's kind of like seatbelt material. It's doubled up, stitched really strong. So as this guy is trying to open as the tire falls out, this guy limits the travel of the arm. The limiting straps were easy, simple bolt-on, but the up travel of the axle has to be controlled too. So the limiting straps, they only took care of half of the issue. They're stopping the tire from dropping out. But still, it can come up. If you were to hit a big bump at speed, it would slam the shock shut and ultimately ruin it. You could do it a couple times, but we need to have some kind of a limiter to stop the axle from moving up. So for the up travel, I just ordered these bump stops from a catalog. Contrary to popular belief, I do order stuff from catalogs from time to time. The whole deal with ordering these bump stops is they're new, they're good, I need them. Simple rubber block with a bolt in it. They're meant to take the axle bouncing around like crazy on an off-road car. Every fabrication has its look. This car has a lot of tube elements in the whole front end. So for me, getting these bump stops mounted, it's gotta be a piece of tube and it's gotta look like it belongs in the car. When you're fitting something into an existing structure, there's always some kind of loose ends to button up. This piece has to be really strong. The entire weight of the front of the car is transferred through one bump stop when it hits something. I ended up making all these gusset shapes to just be strong and also look good. I didn't want a bunch of loose fitting pieces. So really, I just wanted to make the thing look right and be strong. I think that did it. All mechanical parts wear, things change. I made all this stuff adjustable, so as the car ages, you can adjust everything so it keeps the tires in the right position. Yeah, so that's cool because they could be put into here at that height or locked all the way up, so it'll give you an adjustable bump stop. Pretty slick. It works. That's what I'm saying, just driving down the street, you don't need more than that. It's great. The attitude of a car, the car's face, are defined by its headlights. These headlights are pretty crazy. They're actually pieces of spun aluminum that I found in the scrapyard. So I really made this whole unit. I had some glass lenses and I made everything else. They're seal beam bulbs that I glued in behind these antique lenses. So they're 12-volt high-low beams. They look like vintage car parts, but they're handmade. Really badass. The other cool feature is the way they mount on the car. So it's a round tube. So they're adjustable up and down. You can move them in and out because you'll see when you steer, it's very close. Like so. And when the hood shuts, these strange little shapes clear the hood. When you look at it, it looks like a face. So I wanted them to be in the right position, wanted them to be the right size, and I really just tailored the whole mounting bracket so that it was clean and invisible. When you look at it, it looks like there's just two bug eyes looking at you. I made suicide doors on the car. You can buy a kit. I didn't want to do that. I was really just doing this for me. So to show off, I made some really cool suicide door hinges. So all this is developing too. I made my own hinge setup. This is the same stock as the headlights are made of, just I think 3/4, 7/8 solid round. Had a couple gate hinges, heavy duty with grease fittings. I made a bracket, welded it up inside the V-pillar here. I went suicide doors because I built a really radical VW once and I didn't do suicide doors. The first question out, why didn't you do suicide doors? So I figured, now nobody's got anything to say. What didn't I do? I haven't even driven this car. The measure of a car is how it drives, right? So I've really only started the engine up. I gotta take this thing out and spin it around and see how it behaves. Car is a blast. The crazy thing about this car is it is like a go-kart. I mean, it's miniature inside. It's really sectioned down, but it's a ton of fun to drive. It handles awesome, and the 50 horsepower that it has really makes it appear to be a strong runner. It's a ton of fun. It's like a big kid's go-kart. I got this car in just under the wire. The clients are on their way down. They're road tripping all the way from Canada to pick this thing up. And I really haven't even had time to enjoy it. I get to drive it around the parking lot a couple times, and then it's in the trailer and off to Canada. I've been working on this car for about 18 months, and it's pretty cool to see somebody just say, I want your work, we'll take it. These clients are buying the car sight unseen. I got a deposit wired into my bank account, and all they've seen is pictures and video of the car. So I'm a little nervous when they show up. I really don't know what they're expecting. I know that I've done my best work. I can only hope that they appreciate it. The most flattering thing really is that they know of me. They know the cars I've built, and they really wanted a piece of my work. That's the ultimate compliment. Hello.
Hello, Vivian.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Right on.
Vivian.
So here's that thing.
That's sick. Wow. That's crazy. Just crazy, man. My name is Mark Hayward. I'm from a little town outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Thought we'd come all the way down to California and meet Ian and pick up that beautiful little gem we got sitting over there. Oh, man.
But I fit. You're about 6'2", right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is gonna be all right, man. So this car here, I mean, I basically bought it sight unseen. It was just spur of the moment type of thing. Like I say, we corresponded on email, and he said, well, maybe you're interested in this Volkswagen I got. And he sent me a picture, and it was pretty much a done deal. I mean, how could you not? Just taking one look at that thing. It's phenomenal.
Very excited about having the car in our collection. And now we can take it back up to where we live, and I know it's going to be a showstopper wherever we take it. And that's something that we enjoy. We enjoy going to the car shows and having a one-of-a-kind car.
But the cool thing is when you're at the car show and you want to show off, you won't show everybody where the secret switch is, but you know, there's a secret switch under there, and then you just pop the doors like that to get in and out.
Oh yeah, this is gonna just, blow some people away.
I'm a little bummed I didn't get to enjoy the car, but the customers, they seem like they love it. They're really stoked on the paint color and the overall attitude of the car. It's a win-win situation for me because I've already got my mind set on the new car I'm building, and they're happy with what they got.
Oh yeah, I got something for you. I brought you something.
Okay, I heard that there was a little treasure in the trailer.
I got a little treasure in the trailer, all the way down from the frozen north.
Whoa, what the heck is that thing?
That's a 51 Henry J.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one. It's pretty crazy. Mark brought down this Henry J. It's a bitchin' car. It looks like they're doing like a pro street thing. This car was sitting around Mark's garage for years. He's in no real rush to finish it, but he wants me to build it. That is a great compliment. That's crazy, and it has no trunk. What kind of car doesn't have a trunk?
We have lots of projects, both Viv and I, and I'll never get to them all, so it's like, okay, let's give one to Ian and see what he comes up with. And if it's anything like that Volkswagen over there, we're gonna get a pretty nice hot rod out of this. Seeing his work, you know, through the video, seeing the car now in person, yeah, I mean, I trust him 100%. I think it's just his creativity, and it gets down to his hands, and that's what he can fabricate and do. So, yeah, I have full faith in him to turn that project we just left him here into something. He's just a guy that can take nothing and build it into something. That is phenomenal in my book.
Pulling this car up next to a stock Bug really shows you the difference. My friend Todd had a stock VW, same year. When you put them side by side, you see what's going on.
Same exact car, you know. Only difference is
Ian's touch.
only difference is everything.
Mark and Vivian came down to pick up the blue Bug. Mark is claiming that it's his. Vivian's now talking about she wants a Bug. She wants a pink Bug to rival Mark's. I told her that I was chopping a new one, and she's all about it. So it looks like I might be building her a car now. This thing has snowballed into something ridiculous. They're picking up a car from me, they brought a car down from Canada, and now Vivian's talking about wanting a pink Bug to rival Mark's. All I know is I got a lot of cars to build.